Good day, everyone. My name is Michael Boyo, convener of MB Consult. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to this session. This is part of my giving back to the community. I've decided to commit 1 hour of my time in a week, every Saturday at this time, 2 p.m. Eastern, to kind of, you know, banter with the community, whatever you guys want us to talk about, whatever questions you have relating to career advancement is what we're going to be doing here. If you are yet to join the community, please do. And once you do, then you can actually contribute to the narrative, right? So in the WhatsApp group, we were talking this week around, what's a mentor, who is a mentor, who is a coach, who is a sponsor. And people chimed in, and I just felt, okay, let's talk about it a little bit. And I can tell you my own brief story, and this, which is what I tell a lot of my mentees. So I can tell you right out of the park that I believe that I've been a mentor, I've been a coach. Now, don't ask me, oh, what certifications do you have to say you are a, because there are certified coaches, right? Now, I may not have the certificates, but I think I have what it takes. Now, have I been a sponsor? I would say maybe yes, but do I need a sponsor? I can tell you, I sure need a sponsor. So, but perhaps we will get into it and then you would understand why I'm saying that I need a sponsor, right? So let's get into it. And we are saying that how do each of these personas, if you permit me to use that language, how do they impact different phases of your life? So let's dive into it. This is the agenda, like what we're going to be talking. We're looking at key definitions, and then we look at each of those personas. What are their differences? What phases of your career do each of them play key roles? And then how do you build relationships with them? Okay, so intro. So we're going to be looking at overview of each of those three personas, how they play pivotal roles in your growth and their distinct functions, similarities, and differences. Now, key definitions. Maybe I should have asked the question actually before getting here. Or yeah, we can still do that. So let's do this. So let's get people to engage. Who is a mentor? Anyone? Who would you regard as a mentor? And don't forget that you are not going to give the same definition for all of them, right? But who do you think a mentor is? Yeah, please go ahead.
I think a mentor is someone that helps me to do what I want to do. He role models me. So the person already knows how to do it and is like a role model that I can look on to achieve the same objective. So if the person is a plumber and I want to go into plumbing, then I'll attach myself with this person. I can glean from the wealth of knowledge, experience, and mistakes and success stories, so that I can also be a good plumber. Now, the one major quality of a plumber of a mentor is that the person is successful at what they are doing, and that's why they are qualified to show me the ropes, so that I can also be equally good at it.
That's interesting to me, and thank you very much, Aderonke. When you used plumber, I was like, okay, I'm not a plumber, so that's fine. But it makes sense, right? And I like the part when you said the person needs to be experienced in that area, right? Because you don't want the blind leading the blind, right? Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Take anyone you want to define, coach, sponsor, anyone that you are comfortable with. Don't be shy. Don't go quiet on me now, please. Wow, everyone is on mute except me. I hope I'm audible. Can I even get someone to
You are,
talk to me?
you are very audible.
All right, thank you. So anyone wants to define any of the three: mentor, coach, sponsor? Okay.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
You call
go
him.
ahead. No, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna call. I don't want to, embarrass anyone.
Can you
So
hear me?
yes, I can. Yes, I can
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna like talk, define who a coach is, like, and just the slight difference between who a coach is and who a mentor can be. So a coach is someone that their job is probably to train people to be good at maybe something they're trying to do. It could be professionally, it could be sports, it could be just like someone that their job is to train others, basically. So that's the slight difference between who a coach is and who a mentor is. Like a mentor does not necessarily has to be the person's job. It can just be someone that challenges you to do better at what you're trying to become. Again, professionally, educationally, um, in any forms of life, of course. So that's just I think that's the little difference between who a coach is and who your mentor is.
No, thank you very much. That makes a lot of sense to me. No, thank you. Okay. All right. Let's dive into it. There's no, as in at this point, to be honest, those definitions are pretty much good. So, like Ade said, a coach is a trusted advisor who provides guidance based on experience. So you really hit the nail on the head, Aderonke. The person needs to be experienced because you can't teach what you don't know, right? So that's who a mentor is, and a mentor needs to be somebody you can. So a coach is short term, mentor is long term. Interesting. We'll get to that hopefully. Thank you. So the mentor needs to have gone through that path before in whatever shape or form to be able to provide guidance, right? You can't lead somebody down a road that you have not walked. It just does. That's fraud, right? Now, a coach, like if it was saying, a coach trains you. So the difference, as in, and we'll come to different, but a coach helps in developing specific skills through targeted strategies. So coach is usually targeted. It's not general. A mentor can be like, you know what? I want to do this. What do you think? And your coach, based on his experience or her experience, can say, you know what? Based on my experience, I know this, and can counsel you and say, okay, try it this way. That's a mentor. A coach is literally going to sit down there and, we can use very simple examples. Football coach. He doesn't have to be on the field, but he needs to understand the art of playing football, right? For him to be a coach of a football team. And then sponsor. Who is a sponsor? A sponsor is that person that more often than not is senior to you in hierarchy. Don't forget again, in as much as these are principles that can be applied to everyday living, but our focus will be on career, right? So this is someone who is more often than not much more senior than you, wherever you are in your career right now. But the key thing is that this is the person that advocates for you when you are not there. Think about that for a minute. Do you think that you look into your career, wherever you are working now, or even in life? Is there somebody that you know that if your name comes up, that person will put in a good word for you? Do you have somebody like that in your life? Let me know. You can unmute and speak.
I think I do.
You think you do? Is it professional, personal,
It is
social?
so I have professional, yes. I have yeah,
Professional.
professional.
Okay. So that's who a sponsor is, right? Okay. And if you have any like questions, please feel free to raise up your hand and interject. It's supposed to be interactive. I don't just want to walk through the slides. I want us to all learn together. Yes, please. BF5F8. What's your name and where are you dialing in from, please?
Sorry, is that the display? This is Olu. Oh, I didn't realize it. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah.
I didn't realize I was BF. What does that even mean? Anyway,
It
this
just
is
means
Olu
the
speaking.
group you were in quad 5. That's what it means.
Bento Mike, I beg.
Please go ahead.
I realized that was even my name. Okay. So my question in this instance, it still centers around the sponsor. When we say that this is someone that can speak for you, senior leader who advocates for you securing career opportunities. I remember mentioning in the group that a sponsor was someone I thought was within where you worked, right? Okay, so if I have an external sponsor that is not right there during discussions about me, right?
Mhm.
Where does this person feature? Now, an external sponsor is possible, like, okay, yes, maybe the person can vouch for you that, oh, maybe the person heard about opportunities. The person's like, oh, I know this person can do this. Yes. But I was focusing more on like internal sponsor, because where I am per time is where an internal sponsor too might be able to speak for me where I am presently in, which will be like in the company I work.
Yeah, that's correct. So, and I like the way you are now even putting a dichotomy to it to say internal, external. I didn't look at it that way, but you're absolutely on point. So, and I can give you examples. So, internal sponsor is exactly the way you've said it. Somebody, higher up the food chain, that if your name comes up, maybe for a promotion, for a career opportunity, the person puts in a good word. Now, more often than not, you may not even know your sponsor. You may not even know until something happens that you now hear after the fact that, oh, this happened because somebody said. So many times you may not even know your sponsor, internal in this case. But external sponsors are people that can even refer you to another job, which are the kind of privileges I've had in my recent career. The last 2 jobs that I've done, my applying for those jobs were a matter of formality. I already had the job in the kitty before I applied because somebody put in a good word and said, you know what? Mike will be a good fit for this role. Why don't you place a call to him if he is willing to do the job? That's that external sponsor. You could have been a former boss, a former line manager, or someone up there that just has your interest at heart. So I'm just corroborating what you are saying, that I like the use of internal and external. But the key thing is that this person advocates for you. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Thank you. Let's get into it. So mentor. So Ade, you put something in the chat, right? You were saying coach is short term, mentor is long term. It looks like you have access to my notes. I hope you are not hacking my computer, Aderonke.
No, I am not.
Okay.
But it's,
All right.
just like you've explained, football coach, all those things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So a mentor provides guidance and long-term development. So a mentor is not your friend. So I always tell people, and when I mentor people, I always tell them, I'm not your friend. You know what your friend will do? Your friend will tell you what you want to hear, but your mentor will tell you what you need to hear. I'm not supposed to be your friend as your mentor. Should I be friendly? Yes, but I'm not supposed to be your friend. Because a friend will just kind of even want to hide your weaknesses to keep the friendship. But somebody can come up and say, oh, but a true friend should tell you where you need to improve. Yes, you've put the operative word true. Now, a mentor typically offers career advice, wisdom, focusing on long-term personal and professional growth. And more often than not, your mentor can be somebody you met at any point in life that was just there to provide that help, that support, that guidance. So a mentor is somebody that more often than not, you choose. You choose your mentor because there's something you value in that person. And that's why you've chosen that. Oh, please mentor me. There's something you've seen, qualities, attributes, characteristics that you've seen in that person. And that's why you are saying, please mentor me in this area of my life. Now, we're going to be going through four cardinal pillars for each of these personas. One, how do you interact with a mentor? I have it there, ad hoc, arranged. So it can be formal, informal. It doesn't really matter. It can be work, can be non-work, because you determine what you need a mentor for. The relationship is usually multifaceted. It's more often than not mutually beneficial because a mentor doesn't know it all as well. A mentor may not necessarily be an expert in something, but a mentor has experience. There's wisdom, right? A coach needs to be an expert. Because if you want a fitness coach, then please don't come for me. Right? That makes sense, right? If you want a fitness coach, you need to go to somebody that he himself is fit, first of all, and then can, coach you to become fit. But a mentor can provide that guidance. So interaction with a mentor is pretty much informal. How do you benefit? You get direct feedback day to day. You boss the mentor, you call him or her up. Hey, mentor, I want to do this. What do you think? Or this is what I'm thinking. What's your thought on it? And he can give you a lot of different ways to approach it. If one doesn't work, you go back to him. Or if you feel like you didn't do well, you go back to him and say, hey, I tried this. This is the outcome. And then he provides further guidance. That's what a mentor does. Next, how do you find one? So I'm going to take that back. How do you find a mentor? I'm asking now. I'm asking you, the audience. How do you find a mentor? If you have mentors in your life, tell me, how did you find them? Hello? Yes, please. I don't care.
Over time, I think at least the mentors I have had, they have been people that have crossed my path, either by happenstance and then they turn to maybe my mentor, but the ones I have right now, let me put it this way, are like my bosses at work that now took interest in me and that saw more in me than I saw in myself. And they, even though they won't come to you, they didn't come as like, I want to be your mentor. I found value in them. I see that the feedback they give me or they gave me really pushed me to higher heights. And I just thought, okay, these are the kind of people I want to attach myself into. So I found them mostly at work, to be honest. And it's been like that. And even when I changed jobs, I still keep on finding people that are interested in me, and I keep those people along the line. And so mostly I find them at work.
No, thank you for that comment. Anyone else? Okay, let's get going. So, how do you find one? Your company may actually assign a mentor to you. Most times, you get one by yourself. Okay, Philip.
Okay, sorry, I was just far away from my system. I think for me, I have a mentor, right? But not specifically to my career, but I would say, how did I find my mentor? Of course, it was that pathway of the person I want to follow, more of his footstep, kind of, or a replica of him. So that's how I find my mentor, and it was easy for me to find him. Identify him, yeah, because I wanted to in the area of career wise, I wanted to be something like that, right? So that was
So let's
um,
ask the question, Philip.
yeah.
That, so for some of us who are a little bit old school, I find that these concepts might not have been very strong when we were coming up, like straight out of school.
Okay.
Have you always had a mentor, like way back in your early days, like high school, college, early career? Did you have a
Okay.
mentor?
So the word mentor, I heard that when I was in secondary school, to be fair.
Okay.
And it was preaching a gathering of a fellowship. Let me use that word. And the fellowship just talk about mentor, you having a mentor. It was just a full 145 minutes about mentor, right? That I have in the back of my mind. Then I always come across that word mentor. So before I was able to get to the university, when I finished my secondary school, I've always looked up to the person, but like getting access to have his time, maybe him having my own time. So this opportunity now came. He had my time. Few questions, right? And sometimes when you want to have a mentor, you don't have to tell the person, "I want you to be my mentor," right? You just follow that path where he gave me audience and I had more questions. And I said, "Okay, don't worry, I'll guide you." So that conversation of we saying mentor or no mentor is not making official, but you know that you know where you are headed. So I'll guide you, I'll tell you what to do. So if you're going to this university, it's like 4 days. He had a first class, was outstanding, the best overall in the school. Banks were running after him. Of course, they are not entire university, but when he sits down and tell you that someone wants to go to the university, you want to follow his path, right? So I had that privilege to have had the opportunity to be a mentor. And then, like I've said, like in this, when we had that section to say, maybe I'm just lucky, right? To have that quickly identify what I wanted, right? Because I think that was a gap that some of my peers couldn't have. So, those days you just finish school, like, oh, I want to be a medical doctor. I want to be this. I want to be that. Which is fair, good enough. But I had someone who say, no, I wanted to do something different, right? I had something I wanted to do. Like, jam score, okay, let me just do this. And I said, no, do this. When your mentor tells you that, look, it does not matter whether you went to IFE or you went to Ibadan or you went to University of Uyo or EBU. Go to university, curriculum is the same. But one thing you promise me, read, be the best. That when they write vacancy, that's where I head. If I've not entered university, say when they write post vacancy or job opportunity, they will not say, if a student, where are you? Unilag student, where are you? What they will ask is,
That's very interesting.
yeah, I'm just trying to tell you real life. And I'll say,
Yeah.
what they will ask is, did you come out with first class or 2-1? That's the first criteria. As long as you can defend it. So I had to go and prove myself that I see curriculum, right? Fortunately, this person finished from Adoekiti, I think. It was the best, and it was just everywhere. Bank knows him, whatever. Before the age of 10 years, 10 years in banking, it was already a GM or merit, consistent. Every bank was so it was good with it. He studied finance. So when you have this kind of person who understand the logic, unlike we not having a mentor, but that mindset of saying you have to go to one of the best, which is not bad. He later went to Lagos Business School. He later went to Harvard. Harvard even came for him. So it was not the school that really mattered. But that was me having that privilege. So that's where I have.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Okay, John.
Okay, let me add a little salt.
John, I hope you're my mentor, right?
No. Okay, I just want to take it a little bit step back. I understand we're looking at it from the angle of career, right? But for me, my first mentor was my dad, and just looking at that, I now see that at every stage of life, you require mentor. So as I grow in terms of academics, I then move from not just my dad, but a broader figure that, in fact, my own first resume was when I was in secondary school. Like I drafted my own resume.
Wow,
like
you were
I got is, I'm telling you, I drafted in fact, I got my first job when I finished my SSC. So I didn't even wait for university. My first IT course was when I was in SS2. Before I finished the course, I got a job. I did, let's not go there. So my point is, I then see that at every level of life, you need that mentor. Okay, so for my dad, I moved to my elder brother, whom I see his progression, academics, and all of that. Then at a point when I got a job, then I saw a boss whom is working in our organization, and I saw an offer that was given to him where he was told, "We'll bring you and your entire family to come and come and join Microsoft in US." That was how good he is. So at that point, like someone mentioned, you don't need to make it official. Like, I want you to be my mentor. I know the right person to follow, and that's helped me a lot. Now I'm talking about me personally, and it still remain. I'm no longer the organization. It still remain my mentor to date. There are things we still talk, which is very, very key as well too. That relationship, you must maintain that relationship. Then at a point in life, I then saw someone else who is not even in IT, but when it comes to the maturity in the workplace, people that they are not just talking about, oh, it's about the money, but by the time they are done with you, it's a kind of conversation you have. If you are privileged to have a conversation, they're having a conversation with people. Growing up is one of a formula that I was using. That when you're in the presence of people older than you are, that have more experience than you are, you don't talk, you listen. When you talk, you ask questions. So for me at that point, a lot of things that I hear at that point kind of bring that maturity, and career-wise, at every stage in life, I then know this is what you need to do. So yes, you can have more than one mentor, right? And most each of those mentors are specific to some area of your life. There may not be anybody that will be totally like general, everything about your life, they're your mentor, but at every point in life, there are people that are key to you, and there's a lot you can actually learn from them. So that's just what you need to, I want to type in. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John. And I think I like the bit when you said that your dad was your first mentor. And I think we all miss that, right? Either one of our parents was a mentor, but let me allow Aderonke to speak. Aderonke, please go ahead.
I just wanted to ask John if he's still taking mentees so that I can enroll.
You have to connect with him. I'm still applying. He has not approved my application yet that he should be my mentor. So I guess you should just keep in line. Okay, so when do you seek a mentor? And I think we've all answered that, right? Whenever you need guidance, you need advice, just like what John said, a trusted person. Your mentor needs to be trusted, right? Because there are certain things you might tell him in confidence, him or her in confidence. The person needs to have experience in an area where you are yet to grow into. And that's why, again, the example of the plumber. You want to be a good plumber, go mingle with an experienced plumber. And when do you need a mentor? Like we all agreed, long term, you need mentor virtually, at every level of your career. Okay, let's try and jump into the next slide. Now, there's this. A friend's job is to remind you of how far you have come. A mentor's job is to remind you of how far you have to go. Is that speaking to someone? And that's what I'm saying. Your mentor doesn't necessarily have to be your friend. But should he or she be friendly? Absolutely, yes. Because a mentor wants to see you do better, get better. That's why a mentor is much more, a mentor is not looking back at all the things you've done. No, a mentor is looking much more at the potential you have to do more, right? Okay, coach. We kind of defined coach at the beginning. Coach helps to develop specific skills. So that's the difference, right? A coach is very honed in, is laser focused, specific skills with clear goals and outcomes. And that's why I use the analogy of the fitness coach. You can't come to me and say you want me to coach you on fitness, because even I myself, I'm not fit. And it's often short term, just like Aderonke had said at the beginning. And that's why I said it looked like she hacked into my system and she looked at my notes. It's often a short term relationship. Now, how do you interact with a coach? More often than not, a coach, there's structure, right? Because at times you even pay the coach. A mentor can just be like, John said, your dad, your colleague at work, a senior person, your manager. More often in the workplace, your manager seems to be like de facto your mentor. But your manager is just basically to give you structure in the workplace, telling you what to do, maybe how to do it at times, not all the time, when to do it by, and maybe the benefit of doing it. That doesn't make him or her your mentor. He's your manager, right? So more often than not, a coach is something specific. There has to be a goal, a purpose. What do you want to be coached into? And that's why when we say coach, and it has to do with career, we need to put that operative word, career coach, because there are different kinds of coaches, right? There are coaches for virtually every endeavor that you can think about. So let me ask, who has engaged the services of a coach in the course of their life, and you are willing to share with us? What was that like? Hello?
We are here.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Olu?
Okay, yeah. So talking about coaches, I have applied for online courses, for example, and it was specific to a particular topic or subject. That is a coach teaching me what I didn't know in a subject area.
Okay.
Yeah, so that is like online courses, for example. It could be Udemy courses. I pay for a course because I do not understand or I want to gain more understanding on that particular subject area. That is
Okay.
a coach.
Okay. That looks more like an academic or intellectual coach, right?
Well, I'm trying to relate this thing
Yeah.
to career though,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
yeah.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, thank you. And then would you say that without that coach, you wouldn't have been able to achieve your set out objectives, at least in a timely fashion?
Okay, yeah. So for me, my experience is that person sets the tone. Like you gain that understanding, and then you can now continue or progress with in-depth knowledge about that subject area. But then that foundational knowledge of that topic or subject area, the coach actually there was a seed sown from like the class, that kind of thing. And then I continued my research afterwards.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Olu. Olushola, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was almost going to change my mind. I'm sorry. I think that the experience that the last speaker had is not the typical definition of a coach.
Okay.
Yeah. Somehow I am a certified coach in a certain field, or well, in a
Okay.
certain approach to coaching, not field. So I'm a certified coach in a what they call a neuro change approach. And coaches are not restricted to one aspect of your life. So, like, oh, I want a subject matter. What she did was she engaged a subject matter expert to guide her in a certain aspect of maybe something academic or professional or career aspect of her life. But coaches are trained to help you find answers by yourself to almost every aspect of your life. Because usually, what we are taught to understand as coaches is that the answer to most of your questions are resident in yourself or in the situations surrounding you. But it's just that you need someone to help you open your eyes. So the coach helps you to draw out, ask you questions. They don't really give you answers, but they guide you in finding the answers to those situations or challenges. So I just wanted to say that my understanding of coaching based on my training, what she did was that she engaged a subject matter expert, not a coach. Thank you.
Very, very interesting, Olushola. And I appreciate that contribution. And it looks like you might be the second person that hacked into my PowerPoint slide deck. When you talk about a coach is someone that tries to ignite what is already in you. So a coach doesn't do the work for you. You still do the work. But the coach is the person that is able to showcase and highlight, pinpoint that innate potential that you have. So a football coach shouldn't be on the field playing football, right? We can all relate to that. The coach doesn't play on the field when the team is playing. He's not a football player at that point in time. He might have played football in the past, but at that point in time, his job is to ensure that he's able to, instill in the football players all the necessary skills, techniques, methods, strategies, everything they need to be successful at the game of football. That's what a coach does. So I appreciate what you've said, and we're all learning here. If you're saying that what Olu had done was to engage the services of a subject matter expert, which for her, she feels like she's being coached. Well, I'm not going to say right or wrong, but I agree on point with the fact that, just a moment, I don't care, that the coach, and you will see it on the slide deck in a minute, the coach actually instills in you that you being able to come to that point that you know that, oh, I can do this. And then he steers you in that direction. Please go ahead, Aderonke.
Thank you very much, Lower my hand. So I love the tangential contribution by Olushola and what Tadi had said. Now, in that wise, could it be that at times one person can switch gears to being a mentor or a coach, or do we see overlaps? Is there an intersection between these two roles? Because if I now go by my experience, the people I am calling my mentors, it seems that they are coaching me. At times they are mentoring me. Can we have that overlap?
Let me leave that open to the audience. So thank you for the question. Would anyone want to contribute to that, to respond to that? Can we have overlaps between the role of a mentor and that of a coach? Anyone?
Yes, do you want me to go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please.
yeah. So I'll use my own case as an example. So sometimes you can have overlaps, and sometimes you outgrow that space. So having someone who I was looking up to have that road path, like him. So at a point, you get to a point where you notice or you know that it cannot be a mentor again, because now you're looking at not just mentor in terms of your path with your educational career and be a career person. There's sometimes you have, like, I want to follow the path John said, you have a business mentor, and then the person can now over time become your sponsor. Like mine, I would say towards now, I see more on the sponsor side rather than being on a mentor side, right? 80% would be mentor, meaning that without me being there, he would just talk to any of his friends. Maybe I have anything I want to say, oh, I'm trying to work on this and that, but I'm finding it difficult. He just said, okay, no problem. Then 1 or 2 months later, I just called me, just said, I'll just call one of my friends, you give him a call, you find it, you just get it sorted, right? So I see him play that role. So yes, I think that overlaps would definitely come at a
Exist.
point. Yeah, it exists. And sometimes you'll be surprised. So sometimes you can change your mentors in terms of who you are mentoring. Along the line, some of them get failed, or it's something you cannot look up to. You have to also get your maybe your right senses to say, okay, this person, I can't follow that pathway again, right? So also there are times your mentor can be your mentor forever. Sometimes it can be your life mentor. Sometimes there's some mentor you keep changing. So things will keep changing and you definitely have various mentors. I'll go to, sorry, I'll have to chip in this. John said the father. Mine, I would say my mom, on the business side, right? Uh, my father, I see my father as a father, so I didn't see him as a mentor. But my mom on the business side, yes, I see him on the business side. I see how every move you must make something profitable in terms of making sure you move. So that I'll just try to chip in.
Mm.
Thank you.
So you got that whole savviness, finance savviness from your mom.
Privileged to know that, Mike. Thank
Yeah, it's really a privilege, right? Because I've been looking for where you got it from. Okay, thank you for sharing. John.
Okay, yeah. So just to add, in terms of, is it possible to play the two? And yes, it is possible. So it's also important to note that your mentor or your coach are also growing. So they are not stagnant as well too. So that is a mentor to you. Yeah, now it becomes a coach. It can also become a sponsor. So yes, it is possible for that to actually happen. So that I just want to chip in that as you're growing, whoever you see as your figure for now is also growing in his own way as well. So it's a continuous, and that is why it is important, like I mentioned earlier, that you must maintain relationship. Because there is something you saw in them, before the engagement or follow up to, like, okay, asking questions and all of that. So there's a thing of value that those people hold, and it can only get better because they also are not stagnant in one point. Yeah.
Interesting. No, thank you for saying that. Now, let me use my personal myself as an example, and I may be right or wrong, so please forgive me if I'm not right. So I think the relationship I have with certain people in my lives right now, most of them are mentor-mentee relationship, but I think I'm growing to be a coach to some of them. Now, the mentor-mentee relationship is pretty straightforward. You want to do something maybe in tech and all of that. I've seen a lot. I can say, this is what I think you should do. This is how I think you should go about it. But when it comes to the coaching side, I might most likely, have a perspective or a perception of what the end goal is, but I may not necessarily be able to walk with you throughout the process. And so I can actually even identify someone else that would be a better fit to mentor you in that area. Would it be right for me to say that I have now moved away from mentorship to coaching? And maybe in that same instance, it could be something that is very specific to my own field and area. And then I can just bring you on board and say, you know what? This is exactly what you need to do. Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that helps. Okay. So how do we benefit from a coach? Now, I like what someone said. And that's why I said I think some people hacked into my slide deck. A coach holds you accountable to taking action. And I think that was where Olushola was going. That a coach doesn't do it for you. That's why we say a coach is not going to be, no matter how agitated a coach is with the way the game is going, the coach is never going to enter the field and start playing. It's never done, right? So you have to take the action. What does the coach do? He helps you find approaches. And that's why I was saying that, like recently, somebody came to me, he had a job interview, And we scaled through the first stage, which was the HR stage. I was able to say, okay, this is what I think you should do. And then he was now meeting with the hiring manager, and he had a skill-based test that he needed to do. And I said, you know what? For me to do right by you, I would rather connect you with somebody else, a mentee of mine, that I think will do a better job at this. Long story cut short, they still came back to me to show me what they had done. And I said, okay, it looks good. Went for the interview. And thank God, everything panned out. He's going to resume that job on Monday. And I've told him he needs to come out here and share that testimony. But I'm going to let him do that in his own time. Now, but what I'm saying is that I was okay to recognize the fact that I wouldn't be the best person to walk him through that particular stage of the interview. And so I identified somebody else who would do a better job at that. And that's what we are saying, that, you know, as a coach, it now goes beyond, oh, I want to take credit. As a coach, it's more of, you want that person to be able to see within him or herself that he or she can, based on what somebody is able to just showcase to him or her and say that, you know what, if only you put in this, you know, work in this area, you should be able to achieve X, Y, or Z. So a coach is able to explore different options and response to questions asked. It might be an SME in some cases, but it would always find those approaches. How do you find one? More often than not, at work, there are workplaces where your work where you work will assign a coach to you. So that will be purposely for your own area. Your manager may directly or indirectly play that role. Now, and that's where the overlap again comes in. More often than not, when we start, you know, working in our careers, we feel like the manager is just the all and be all. So your manager is your mentor, your manager is your coach, because that's all you know, right? But you now realize very quickly that your manager too doesn't know everything. But you can seek a professional coach in different areas of your life. So depending, again, like we said, fitness coach. Olushola says she's a coach in a certain area. And that's why we have certifications for coaching. Because you need to be able to say and exemplify that I have the skill set to coach someone in this particular area. It has to be definitive more often than not. Then, lastly, when do you seek a coach? You seek a coach when you need one. You don't need to have like a lifetime coach. There are some people that will say they are life coaches. There's nothing wrong with that. But a coach is not something you just need every day of your life. It's not like a terminal disease, like, oh, you need to be on a medication for the rest of you. No. You seek a coach when you need a coach. And the coach can be with you, you know, for how long it may be. Now, coaching is unlocking people's potential to maximize their own performance. And that's the key. The coach needs to be able to see beyond you, must be able to identify your potential and your ability to achieve more. That's the work of a coach. It is helping them to learn rather than teaching them. And again, going back to what Olushola, and that's why I said I think she hacked my slide deck. Like, it's helping them to learn rather than teaching them. You need to come with the skills when you're coming to a coach. You need to have skills. The coach is just here to exemplify, to kind of make you realize that you can actually do more if only you know what you carry and you know the methods, the strategies to do more with what you have. Take, for example, why do you think teams have the coach and they have the manager? Have you ever thought about it? There's the coach, the football coach, and then there's the football team manager. There are certain things that the coach cannot also do because he's also just vast in the area of the game. But the manager is also another layer of coach that coaches the team, and they are strategically chosen. The failure of the team is actually on the team manager, not just the coach. It's the failure of the game that's on the coach. Right? Anything to add? Anyone? Okay, let's quickly go into the next one. Sponsor. So what happened there? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to run through this and we'll see what we get. How do you interact? So who is a sponsor? Advocating for opportunities. That person higher up in your career or higher up in age. It could be somebody that you've always respected. They could be industry leaders that you look up to. But there still has to be a connect at some point. Sponsors actively promote you in high stakes conversation. And to be honest with you folks, that's what I pray for. That somebody gives you a call. So coming back to career and say that I was having a conversation with someone and your name came up. Perhaps because you've gotten to a certain level in your career, whatever, wherever you are. And somebody says, oh, we're talking about somebody that would be able to do this role or this job. And your name came up. And that's why I'm placing a call out to you. Whoever mentioned your name at that point in time is a sponsor. So I have a friend right now whom we worked together at the bank a few years ago. We worked for about 2.5 years. That was my first professional job here in Canada. And I can tell the story of how I got that job was predominantly, first and foremost, that a recruiter believed in me. And I still see her as my sponsor, even though she's not in direct hierarchy in my line of work. She's into HR recruiting. But she believed in me so much. She said, Mike, I have the ability to put you in front of a hiring manager, but you need to put in the work. Now, and I can tell you definitively that if my resume just landed in the hand of that hiring manager without this recruiting lady, I would say 90% I'm not going to be called for an interview. But because this lady was able to put in a good word for me, I was able to get that interview, and the rest is history. One of the few people I worked with in that engagement became my mentor based on working relationship, and he's technically now like my sponsor. Because whenever he finds, we are no longer working together now, but one of the last jobs I did, he literally placed a call out to me and said, Mike, I have this gig. Are you interested? And I said, oh, I'm sorry. I respect you a lot, but I'm on a project right now that I don't want to be out of. Again, long story cut short. I left that project. I came over and the interview was mere formality. That's what a sponsor does for you. Let me stop talking. Any comments before we run through sponsorship? Does anybody have something to share? Okay, let me keep going because of time. How do you interact with your sponsor? Sometimes direct contact, oftentimes action are taken by sponsors discreetly. As in, you may not even know until after the fact, right? Relationship is multifaceted, mutually beneficial, can be short or long term, either in the company or in the industry. And that's what I'm saying. The sponsor doesn't necessarily have, even when you said, so that's why I like when you said, Olu, that internal, external. Sponsor can as well be I've benefited more from external sponsors, to be honest, than internal ones. How do you benefit? You gain exposure because they bring out your talents. They bring out, they nurture your potential to make other people see what you can do. So imagine you're in a workplace and you are really working a lot. You are first in, last out, and nobody is rooting for you. You might as well be on that role for the next 2 decades, and you may not even be promoted. Is it that you're a bad worker? No. But it's just because you don't have a sponsor. Whereas, why do you say that? Why do you say that they use the terminology, oh, you're on the fast track? You get into an establishment, in 6 months, you are now a people manager. In another 6 months, you are a middle management person. In another 6 months, you are associate director. In another 6 months, you are a director. You think it just happens just because of skills? Skills, yes, is important, but it's not just skills you need to climb up the ladder. Does anybody have anything to contribute? or maybe you've experienced first-hand sponsorship in the workplace that you want to share with us. Yeah, Olushola, please.
Yeah, okay. I think the issue of sponsorship is something that is so critical and dynamic and not so easy as you rightly said. And I remember a critical time in my career back in Nigeria, and I was looking at the top ladder of my career. And usually it it's a tough battle, highly political, because the top level is directorship. And I was already a deputy director. I was very good on my job. My boss believed in me so much. He gave me the exposures that I needed, but he didn't have the muzzle to make me a director because he could only recommend. But the benefit I got from his mentorship was that he gave me platforms to appear before the senior executive. And that's where I needed the sponsorship. But me, I didn't know how to play the politics to get there. And why am I sharing this? In everything we do as professionals, pray to that God that you believe in to act on your behalf when it comes to the issue of sponsorship. Because what then happened was that my boss exited the corporation because he had to retire. And
Okay.
I continued with my job, but he had done his bit. And what happened? God stepped in.
Mm.
One of the members of that political class that I so seriously needed the sponsorship. I was praying like my life depended on it all because I knew I was going to quit and I wanted
Mm.
that directorship before leaving. She just picked me up
Okay.
and started to root for me when it mattered. I already gave up the idea of, getting that directorship because when I got the role eventually was the last possible opportunity I would have had before leaving. Interviews are conducted in that organization in January of, at the beginning of the year. And they, you know, I already gave up, but they invited, well, they would invite all of you who are due for the interview, but they know how they play their politics. So this lady, for whatever reason, maybe because of the platforms my boss had given me to work with her and the quality of my work, and then, whatever God's mercy and favor, I appeared before the interview panel, the three musketeers, as we call them,
Okay.
and this lady was just looking at me and she was just looking at me. They asked her to ask me questions. She said, no, I don't have any questions for her. She's doing well. My ED looked at me. I started throwing questions in my head. I'm like, is this man's head? Is something wrong with his head today? But, God just granted me that favor. I
Mm.
did well with the questions my ED asked
Mm.
me. The MD asked me. My MD was like, I mean this girl today, like war.
Mm.
Real
Wow.
marketplace,
Yeah.
questions that is not textbook answer. But this
Mm.
lady was just smiling. She was just looking at me. I said, Madam, ask her question now. She said she's doing so well. I don't have any questions for her.
Wow.
And guess what? They did what they have never done in that company. Eh? In that company, they give only directorship, one director to a department. I don't know whether it was because of me, but that year, I'm telling you, they created two directorates in two
Mm.
departments,
Okay.
and I got my directorship.
Interesting.
Those kind of things don't happen just because of hard work. That's why I decided to speak that whatever God you believe in,
Mm.
when you get to a certain level of your career, you need a divine lift that
Correct.
goes beyond what your
Just hard
skills,
work.
what your whatever talent
Yeah.
can get for you. And I
Yeah.
pray that that keeps, you know, speaking for all of us, at every stage of our career, because that's what sometimes can make the huge difference that we desperately need. Thank you.
Mm. No, thank you so much for sharing that, Olushola. Philip, I'm going to take you, and I think we're going to wrap this up here. I think we can pick it up next week. I want to respect people's time. It's almost 15 minutes past the hour. So, Philip, I will allow you to talk, and then I think we'll just wrap it up here, and then we'll pick it up again next week. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mike. I just want to follow what Olushola just said. So I work in one of these Nigerian bank. where the person was a right-hand man. Let me be specific about the name, to Tony Elumelu, right? When Tony was the MD or GDM, that's the group general manager, was group managing director, I meant. He
GMD.
was the right guy to call. It was like a spokesman. He's sound, whatever. When the whole policy changed, the likes of Tony was out, Ovia was out. There was a new player on board. Everything changed. When we're talking one-on-one, so there was a question I asked him, and I told him, I said, Philip, there's a point you get to in your life, in your career. It's not what you know. So in Nigeria, I would say who you know. Like I said, who will speak on your behalf. So there will be some people that will come from 2 steps back that used to be your junior, meet you, pass you. So you have to have that man. Well, let's make it Tush, sponsor. But we will say Baba Saleh, according to Yoruba brethren, right, Godfather, that will speak on your behalf. So he's good. Has it changed? No. Has it been a new person? No. But his promotion was rapid when Tony was there. But when he left, even though he's the chairman, they fired someone Tony brought in, the new MD. It was Tony that intervened. What am I saying is that you have to have somebody. I've been in a career space where I always tell people too that when you get to a place of work, you may not make the person your mentor, coach, but try to find someone who will be your sponsor. You have to impress at that level. And of course, God is there, that when you are not there at that top level, when they are talking, He will speak on your behalf when they are in the room at the management level, which I've said. So no matter how the politics they want to play, is the man insider for you. So that's my own experience. And maybe we'll continue next week and I can add more stories to what I've said.
No, thank you so much, Philip, and thank you, Lushola, for sharing those experiences. I can't say it enough, and I think that would be a very good place to pick it up, and we'll pick it up and look at other examples that we can share, because I think when you move up the career ladder, a sponsor becomes very imperative, right? Very, very imperative for you to move up. And like I said, we'll wrap it up here. I want to thank everyone for joining. It's always a pleasure. I'm super excited to be here. Let's please invite friends as you come next week. It's not just for us to enjoy this time together. Let's get more people here. And I'll be making a few announcements when we come next week. So please, I would appreciate if you can show up as well and bring someone with you. So I'm challenging you all here. Be a mentor on my behalf to bring someone here. Can I assign you that role of a mentor to bring someone here that you feel might benefit from what we are doing here? Bring someone to join the community. Because to be honest with you, when I asked Philip that question of, did you have a mentor growing up in your early years? The closest I had to a mentor was my uncle. And I can call him mentor, but I don't think he was mentoring me. He was just like wanting me to, go to school, make good grades, be very disciplined and all that. So he was, I don't even know what to call him, but he was a very good uncle, But to be honest with you, I asked myself the question, should I have studied what I studied? Maybe if I had a mentor, the mentor would have steered me to study something else, just like it happened to Philip, right? But no regrets. But I'm just saying that's what I'm hoping that we can do for people that are new to Canada, new to this system. Don't just come in and just jump into something. You need a mentor that would be that first hand guiding you. Do this, don't do that, and then you progress. Needing a coach, needing a sponsor, as it were. So once again, thank you very much, everyone. I would let us go at this point. I am actually late for another meeting. So I look forward to continue to engage for those of us in the WhatsApp group. If you are not, please join. In this invite, you will have seen the link to join as well. So please do that and, reach out, ask questions. I'm here to help. I have, my very wonderful friends who are all here to help. And I believe that we're all here to help each other anyways. So have a great rest of the weekend. and hopefully talk to you soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.